Welcome back to On Tap Bets, presented by On Tap Sportsnet. He's Joey Ricotta. I'm Iowa with Zach, and we've got a good slate of NFL Week 8 games we're going to run through tonight. A little fun holiday special or Halloween special for you guys tonight. You can see we're dressed a little silly, but should have some fun with it. Before we jump in, I just want to remind everybody that On Tap Sportsnet has a partnership with Bet Rivers. And as part of that partnership, our listeners can get a free first-time deposit match of up to $250 just by going to betrivers.com and entering promo code on tap. That's betrivers.com, promo code on tap. Joey, happy pre-Halloween, brother. How you doing?
Happy pre-Halloween. I'm doing good.
I'm wondering how long that mask is actually going to stay on. That can't be very comfortable.
No, it's not staying on very long. I got the it's tied like over my eyes. I can barely see anything and barely breathe. So
feel free to take it off. You at least made appearance.
It's here. You know, I dressed up. That's all that's important, I guess.
Yeah. I'm going as for any of our listeners who are fans of the show Yellowstone. My wife and I are obsessed with Yellowstone. I'm going as Rip this year from Yellowstone. My only problem is I don't have a black cowboy hat. All I have is the tan. But I'm rocking it. I got the chest flowing, got the jacket, got the hat, the glasses. I'm going for Rip, man. Mostly for my wife, just to try to get her a little excited. She seems to have a affinity for Rip on Yellowstone. But do you watch that show at all, Joey?
There you go. I haven't. I think I might have like caught an episode, but like, you know, like I was saying, I before this, I think it's like one of those things where it's on kind of in the background, and I couldn't really get into it. I didn't even know what was really going on, but I've heard of the show, and I think my girlfriend's dad, she really liked that show, so I'm gonna have to watch it now that you're talking about it. You speak highly of it, so.
Dude, yeah, you're missing out if you're not watching Yellowstone. It's one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. The new season's coming like next week, so maybe start getting caught up if you're into it. But yeah. And one of the characters on there, Rip, he's quite the badass cowboy. So figured I'd give it a shot.
Definitely, that's and scores you some points too. So why not?
Hopefully,
it'll be more of a treat, not a trick. So.
For me anyway, I don't know about for her.
Right. Yeah, she might be feeling like it is a trick. This ain't Rip. I know who it is.
No, this is old Zach. All right, man. Well, we had a good night last night chatting about some college football. Going to jump through some NFL tonight. I'm going to start here with Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland laying 4.5 this week. The over-under is 42. You want to start with this one, Joey?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I think the Browns are getting a little bit healthier here with the extra rest coming off that Thursday night game against the Broncos, which, was a closer game than it probably should have been. But, they were dealing with injuries and stuff. No Baker Mayfield. Looks like he's going to be back here. So that's good for them. Also, Nick Chubb and some other guys, too. They're getting some other key players back. The thing is, though, they are also going to be missing some guys, it sounds like, too, still. With the Jadeveon Clowney's going to be out. Denzel Ward, one of their starting defensive backs, real important piece to them. Tack McKinley's questionable. So, I mean, they're still pretty banged up, it looks like. But the Steelers, they've got some injuries, too, on their side of the ball. They've got Ebron out, Eric Ebron. They've got Melvin Ingram out also. So, I don't know. It was kind of – I just looked at this game, and I'm like, talent-wise, in my opinion, especially on the offensive side of the ball, the Browns' offense is just, I believe, just way better than the Steelers. I mean, we've talked about Big Ben in the past, about how he's pretty much donezo. Like, this dude, I don't know, man. He's just like a check-down machine nowadays. And not that Baker's like anything like super special or anything, but what they do super well for the Browns, they just run incredibly well. And, I mean, the Steelers have a good defense. They're pretty well-rounded defensively. It's stopping the run and stopping the pass. So, I mean, it's not going to be like one of these matchups that just gets out of hand. I don't see the Browns like steamrolling them here, but they've been worse recently, Pittsburgh, stopping the ground. So in the game before their bye week, they let Alex Collins run for over 100 yards on them. And that was with Geno Smith at quarterback. Right. So, I mean, like, how do you they let the Seahawks do that? I don't understand how you let that happen when Geno Smith's at quarterback. You know what they're going to try to do, and it's Alex freaking Collins. Like, the way to beat Cleveland is through the air. I don't see Big Ben doing that. So, you got on other side of the ball, though, you've got some playmakers like Myles Garrett. He's first in the NFL in sacks. TJ Watt's third in the NFL in sacks. So that could be an issue for Cleveland with Jack Conklin dealing with an injury himself, but it sounds like he's going to be good to go. I just feel like, I don't know. I like the Browns here, laying the points. And I also like the under, as long as it's above 42, because of the way that these teams love to just kind of run the ball and just play defense. I think the defense will win over the game mostly. So you need the hook, though. I like the 42.5 if you're taking the under here.
Yeah, a lot of really good points, and I think I'm going to align with you on part of it. I mean, you know what you're getting with this Browns offense, right? I mean, they're still number one in the league rushing the ball, 170.4 yards per game, just shy of 2 rushing touchdowns per game. Nick Chubb, incredible. 5.8 yards per attempt already this season. They're not going to pass the ball, 27th in the league in passing yards per game. That Cleveland defense, middle of the road, allowing 23.6 points per game. But, this Pittsburgh offense has just really not been good, Joey. 22nd in offensive DVOA so far this year. They pass the ball okay, middle of the road, 15th in the league, but they're not rushing at all. For some reason, with some of the questions on Cleveland, you mentioned the injuries, right? Baker looks like he's going to be good to go, but I think they're still going to be careful with him. You've got some of the injuries on the defense that you mentioned. Malik Jackson, in addition, is still not with them or questionable. And honestly, Nick Chubb was still limited early this week. Looks like he had some full practice today. But there's still some questionable stuff there. I don't like this spread at all. I really didn't know where to land, so I am going under. I like that. These two teams are combined 7-5 on the under this year. I think this is going to be a trench game, running the ball, or at least trying to run the ball down each other's throats. I like the under. I do like the point about the hook. If you can get 42.5, take it. I think I'll play under 42 if I have to, but I would also like the hook. So good call on that one.
Yeah, definitely. And to add to your point, both teams are really slow in pace too.
Yes.
Pace of play. So, and that's important for if you're betting the under. So,
yeah, for sure. Good call. All right, Joey, for this next one, I got to switch up my costume just a little bit. Okay. And you can
no more Rip.
This. Well, I'll get back to Rip, but for this, I got to, hold on. How's that look? Is that good?
It's a little ugly if I say so myself, but
well, I was kind of thinking that looking at you too, but it's okay. We got my San Francisco 49ers coming to Chicago this week. San Francisco laying 4, over unders 39.5 on this one. I'll kick this one off, Joey, because I am really curious to hear what you have to think from the Bears side. I mean, these are a couple offenses. Let's just not beat around the bush. They're struggling to pass the ball, to say the least. San Francisco, I mean, has been okay, but 19th in the league. Who knows what we're getting with Jimmy G right now. There was some spots last week where he looked efficient. That was a monsoon game. That was kind of a weird thing, but back-to-back weeks, less than 200 yards passing for the 49ers. And then you got the Bears, man. I'm sorry to say it, but dead last in the league in pass yards or in passing per game at just 124 yards. What I'll give Chicago, man, is this is a top 5 team in rushing right now at 131 yards per game. And I do think you guys found a gem in Khalil Herbert. The guy's been great. 100 yards last week against Tampa Bay in that blowout. It was really the only shining light of that game. 97 the week before against Green Bay. He scares me. But I guess where I feel a little bit more comfortable, I mean, Chicago's you're putting up a lot of yards, but not scoring a lot on the ground. Just 7 rushing touchdowns. That's 12th in the league. So you're getting a lot of yards there, not necessarily capitalizing. I think that's a lot to do with schemes and coaching. San Francisco, on the other hand, 12th in rushing yards, but 6th in rushing touchdowns. So the Niners have been able to punch the ball in when needed. It was weird though, looking at these defenses, Joey. They're eerily similar. I don't know if you caught that, but San Francisco's 5th in passing yards allowed. Chicago's 8th. San Francisco's 20th in rushing yards allowed. Chicago's 23rd. So you got a couple defenses here that are similar. What I was scared about, or what I would have been scared about on this game, was Chicago's ability to get after the quarterback. 21 sacks, co-leading the league right now. But as you know, no Khalil Mack this week, and Akeem Hicks is still questionable, right? So right there, those two account for 60% of Chicago's sacks on the season. Akeem Hicks, it looks like, did practice on Friday, but still officially listed as questionable. Mm-hmm. I looked up and down this line. I labored over this game for so long. I'm not comfortable with the spread at all. San Francisco 1-2 against the spread on the road. Chicago 2-1. I'm not going to take Chicago in this game, but I hate to say it, but I'm not comfortable laying 4 points on the road as a 49er fan. I'm going to play the total here. It's a low total, 39.5, but I am going to go under. These two teams have combined for 9-4 on the season. Chicago's actually 6-1 to the under this season and 3-0 at home. So I think with some of the things I mentioned, these two teams are going to, again, try to run the ball at each other, chew some clock time up. A lot of similarities to the game I just talked about. These two teams, last time they played, have gone under by a significant amount. I think this is going to be another, hit them in the nose game, defensive focus, under 39.5. That's my play.
Yeah, so I like a lot of what you had to say, and I'm going to take it as this is being such a low total that this will not be your lock this week. Because
not at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you see a total under 42, it scares the hell out of me. But, I could see it definitely going under because of the lack of success and on the offensive side, like you mentioned, and the defense is here. But, the Bucs crushed the Bears last week. It was never a contest. Just absolutely ridiculous. Niners look bad versus the Colts. So, and you mentioned it with no Khalil Mack. It sounds like Akeem Hicks will play this week from everything that's been getting reported and everything. Like you said, was able to practice a little bit. Matt Nagy, however, was a game time decision because he's got COVID, or he's on COVID protocol or whatever from some random bunker. We don't even know where he is. No one knows where he is. He didn't want to tell anybody where he's at for some reason. He's probably afraid for his life that Bears fans someone's gonna show up with a shotgun or something and put him to bed for good. But anyways, no, I think it's probably an upgrade if he's not there.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, Justin Fields is saying that he feels a breakout coming soon, which I don't know if I want to believe it, but I don't know if I believe it or not. Like, without Nagy, I probably believe it a little bit more. But who knows if he's actually going to make it? He could test negative and then be there on Sunday. So we have no idea. In this matchup between these two teams, the Bears haven't given up a touchdown to the Niners in any of their last 3 meetings dating back to 2016. And that's including one of the games that the Niners pulled out with Robbie Gould hitting, I think, like 5 field goals in that game,
yeah. Yep.
Which was just nuts. How do you not win a game that you just – how do you win a game off 5 field goals? It's just insane to me. The Bears have been good against the run mostly, which is what San Francisco will most likely, try to establish, like you said. As good as the Bears have been against the run, they did allow 182 rushing yards last week, which kind of inflates their numbers a little bit. And like you said, they didn't have Akeem Hicks, though, and a lot of that was in garbage time, too. So, I don't know. It's not really a huge concern to me, but what does concern me is the Niners' scheme and their just ability to be able to get rushing yards on the ground, no matter who they face. So, and who's their running back, really. It almost doesn't even matter. So they should get back Tayshaun Gibson at safety this week, though, so that'll be a little bit of a boost. I don't know. Even without Khalil Mack, I think the Bears still have a solid enough defense. They're playing a really when they're not playing a really good offense like Tampa Bay, that is. So,
yeah.
I mean, the Niners have struggled offensively, like we said. Games where they had success, I was just looking at this, 41 points in week 1 versus the 27th ranked DVOA defense, the Lions. 30 points versus the Packers, who are 24th in DVOA. 21 points versus the Seahawks, which still isn't a crazy number, but they're ranked 21st in DVOA on defense. The Bears rank 8th, even after the game last week against the Bucs. So, I mean, I think this Bears D keeps them in it enough. Hopefully, Nagy not being there gives the offense somewhat of a boost.
Yeah.
I just feel like the spread, man, like 4 points, I think the Bears can hang there. I think they can keep it close enough. And not even being a homer, I'm going to take the Bears spread. I'll probably sprinkle a little on the money line just because, being a Bears fan. But telling people how to bet, if I were to give advice, which I am, I think I would take the Bears spread here.
I can't give you any shit for that pick. I mean, that's where I landed. I think this is I see this being like a 17-14 game. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't surprise me if this is a 2 or 3 point game. I hate that 4 point spread. I just don't like it. And just something in my gut. But no. So I'm good with that. The under was kind of a boring play for me. I'm not gonna lie, Joey. I wanted to take the Niners to cover.
Oh, yeah.
Just, as like you said, we're here to try to give the best advice possible, and I couldn't give that advice this week. So
yeah, I know.
I think the Niners win. The money line's not enough for me to go there. But like I said, 17-14 Niners wouldn't shock me.
That wouldn't shock me either. And I hope you're wrong, but no, I definitely see that type of a scoring outcome though is. Yeah. Within, like, I feel like 20 points is probably the max that anyone scores in this game. Like,
yep.
Unless Fields just like turns it on without Nagy there, and that's the only way I see this game anybody getting over 20 points. To be honest.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna get this hot ass stock.
Yeah, it's colder in my house, so I'm gonna keep this.
All right. Well, good luck this week. We'll, I'm sure we'll be texting back and forth or messaging back and forth, maybe giving each other a little shit, all in good fun.
We could put a little fun little bet on it, wager between ourselves or something,
Hell yeah.
We'll avoid the books and put like a friendly little wager on it or something. Yeah, we'll come up with something to do maybe on the live stream or something too.
Yep. Good call. I like that. All right, let's jump to the next game. Tennessee at Indiana. Indiana laying 2.5 points here. Over unders 50.5. You go ahead and kick this one off. What's your play?
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and call this since we're doing this little Halloween episode we got here going. This is like the trick or treat game of the week here that we're covering, I think. I mean, Vegas probably has this line right. It just, I mean, I really don't. They don't really make mistakes, right? Like when they're setting these lines, it's all about how you personally cap the game and where or how you find your edges. But this one feels tough to me. I mean, the Titans have both teams are coming in hot, right? I mean, the Colts have won each of their last 2 and 3 of their last 4, barely losing to the Ravens. And the Titans have won each of their last 3. With wins over the defending AFC champs, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Jags. And I mean, Carson Wentz is playing much better for the Colts, but I mean, the wins to me, in my book, they aren't equal. Like, I'm looking at this matchup and I'm like, the Colts have beat a struggling 49ers team. Sorry, Zach. The horrible Texans and the Dolphins. The Titans pass D, not great, but ranked ahead of the Colts in DVOA. Rush defense, the Colts have the edge, I think, by a wide margin. Obviously, first in DVOA compared to Tennessee's 25th.
Yeah.
And we know who's on the other side there with Derrick Henry. Right now, the Titans should still be able to run the ball, I think, against this good Colts defense because they haven't really faced a rushing attack quite like Derrick Henry. No one's on his level right now. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, when they decide to use him like a workhorse that he's capable of, he's an excellent running back. With that said, the edge still goes to the Titans, I think, as far as talent goes or just production, honestly. He went for 113 yards against them in the first meeting that they played this year, and the Titans won that game 25-16. So with all that said, this is a divisional game, and it's one where I see the Colts. I could see the Colts winning. I lean the Titans money line for the side, but I really like the under here. I mean, the Colts are dead last in pace of play in neutral game scripts, and the Titans aren't much quicker. They're not much faster at 23rd. So 51 just feels like a lot in this divisional matchup. I like the under here. I'll be the boring guy on this one.
Man, it's like you stole my notes. Like everything you said is exactly where I was at on this one. We're pretty close. I am going to jump on Tennessee, and I'm going to take that money line at +2.5, no problem. I mean, you talked about both these teams are hot, but Tennessee's hotter, man. Tennessee is one of the hottest teams in the league, probably the hottest. You talked about those wins. I mean, Derrick Henry, everybody knows what he's doing. He's running laps around people right now, 869 yards already and 10 TDs.
Yeah.
It did give me a little bit of pause looking through some of the figures. I mean, Indy's defense is especially their rush defense is significantly better, but I mean, you said it. Who have they played? These guys played in week 3, and Tennessee won 25-16 and rushed for 180 yards as a team. You look down, Indianapolis is their lineup this year. The only team they've played that can rush even in the same stratosphere as Baltimore, and they lost. So, you go back, you look at that first matchup. I think Tennessee's even better now than they were in week 3. Yeah, give me the Titans easy, +2.5. Give me the money line. I'm gonna sprinkle that money line for sure.
I love that. Yeah, double dip on it.
Yeah. All right, man. Tampa Bay going to New Orleans this week. Tampa Bay laying 4.5. The over/under is 49.5 on this. I mean, Tampa Bay is still what they've been all year. They remain the best passing offense in this league. Over 320 yards passing per game, 3 touchdowns per game. I mean, I was a little nervous with Antonio Brown being out. He's going to be out again this week. But look at last week. Chris Godwin just went off for 111 yards. So Brady can spread this ball around all he wants. On the other side of the ball, New Orleans, 31st in the league in passing yards. They score in the red zone through the air. But I'm not really worried about that. The problem here is how do they get down there? They're not going to rush the ball against the best rushing defense in the league. Tampa Bay is still just absolutely shutting people down, number 1 in rush D. This one didn't feel too hard for me. Tampa Bay lay the points. I'm good with that on the road. How you feeling?
I'm in agreement, complete agreement here. I'm laying the points with the Bucs. Just before I give any analysis at all. But, they look like they were in an entirely different weight class than the Bears last week. I mean, meanwhile, the Saints got a hard-fought win on Monday night against the Seahawks in Seattle. But, I mean, the game wasn't all that entertaining. I mean, not a whole lot of offense, but it was fun for me. I'll be honest. I mean, my dad came over. My girlfriend was here. We ate chili and a pizza separately. We weren't like dipping the pizza in the chili.
That doesn't sound too bad, actually.
I mean, I don't know, with the sauce, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Chili pizza.
Chili pizza, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
might be on something there.
Like take off the pizza sauce and just do like the chili. Anyways, I don't know. We got distracted for a minute, but
I digress.
Yeah. It was good to see the Saints get the ball to Kamara, though. I mean, honestly, in the receiving game, finally this season. And, I mean, that was one of my best calls. That was my lock of the week. Last week, I put 2 units on it. I put it in as my lock in the article, not to just toot my own horn, but it was like the easiest bet I made all fucking year. And we'll never see a number for him receiving yards-wise that low again this year. I think it's at like 45.5 this week. Just to show how big of a discrepancy that should have been, because it was at 28.5 last week. So, and he crushed it. 10 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Just absolutely smashed. But for this game, that's what the Saints are going to have to do again. Like they'll need to get him with their lack of pass catching weapons. It's going to be a theme all season until they get Michael Thomas back, and he's still sidelined. He's going to be out for this game. I mean, although the Bears were able to get the ground game going against the Bucs a little bit, they're still a top 5 team in rush DVOA. like you were talking about, they're just really good against the run. I mean, without Brown, even like Brady spreads it around. He's been doing it his whole career. And I mean, I know, and they have so many other weapons. Marshawn Lattimore pretty much owns Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin's a beast. They're probably going to get Gronk back this week. I think the Bucs cover this game. I mean, I know it'll be tough to put up points against the third best defense based on DVOA, which is what the Saints are. But I also like the under for this game because New Orleans they play at a slow pace. The Saints are 19th in neutral pace of play, but 32nd overall and 31st when trailing by 7 or more points. I don't understand. So I just feel like this game will be kind of the Saints could be putzing around here, and we saw what the Bucs did when they jumped out to a lead, and were smashing the Bears last week. They just wanted to get out of there healthy and just ran the ball. So gave it to like guys like Ronald Jones, and so I like the under here as well. I'm going to double dip on that for under 49.5. I think I got it at, but I'm comfortable with 49 as well. Mike Evans under 70.5 receiving yards. I love that. Marshawn Lattimore owns his ass. Like he's had games where he's had 1 catch for 2 yards, 1 catch for 3 yards against him, and 0 catches in a game against Marshawn Lattimore. So Mike Evans under 70.5. And Alvin Kamara over 107.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I love this fucking game, dude. I've got 4 bets on this game, and I got to get them all out there. That's too low for Kamara too. They're gonna get him the ball again.
You got a same game parlay all that shit, man.
I might have to
get a payout.
I might have to. Yeah, I'm all over this one, and who knows I'll be right, but I'm feeling it. Grab that Mike Evans number now, though, and the Kamara one. Both those are going to move.
Okay. Good call. All right, man. Moving on to the Sunday night football game. Dallas at Minnesota. Minnesota laying 3 here at home. Over-unders 52 in this one. Okay, so both of these offenses have had some success, right? I mean, so maybe even to a surprising degree. Dallas, second in the league in rushing yards per game, 5th in passing yards per game. The team's really stepped it up. Minnesota, I mean, really been a shock for me. 8th in rushing yards per game and 6th in passing. These defenses are really comparable as well. I mean, you look at, we both like that DVOA. When you look at weighted DVOA, which kind of considers their recent play more than early in the season. Minnesota number 6, Dallas number 9. But their defenses are weirdly different strengths. So stay with me here. Minnesota 12th in passing yards allowed. Dallas is 28th in passing yards allowed. But Dallas is 5th in rushing yards allowed, and Minnesota's 26th. So their strengths are really opposite here. So I'm looking at this game up and down, and I landed on the fact that I think the gap between Dallas's rushing offense and Minnesota's rushing defense is much larger than Minnesota's passing offense to Dallas's passing defense. I'm going with the hotter team here, Joey. Dallas is coming off 5 straight wins. They haven't lost since week 1 to Tampa Bay, and they're 6-0 against the spread. How can you pick against that as underdogs? Give me Dallas +3 all day long, baby.
All right. We're on the opposite sides. I don't know if we've disagreed yet to this point, but we are going to here. And it's mainly because I'm super worried about Dak. Prescott's that's the big storyline. We don't know for sure if he's going to play or not. It sounds like he has a chance to play, but it sounded like he was also sore after Friday's practice. Or today's practice, whenever you're listening to this, whatever.
Right. With
the Dak news, though, or lack thereof right now, I think it comes down to how quickly you can move your thumbs. Like in my opinion, I know you're on the other side. But if we get word that he's not playing, this total is going to drop. Minnesota is going to be about 6-point favorites or more. If you don't think he's going to play, bet the Vikings and the under immediately, because Cooper Rush is nowhere near Dak Prescott, and this offense will be significantly worse. I think, even if Zeke is a great running back and the Vikings struggle to stop the run, they're going to key in on him with Cooper Rush under center. And we've seen this saga before with the Cowboys. They don't do anything with the backup quarterback, really, like last year when Dak was out. So honestly, I'm probably on the Minnesota side right now anyway, because I don't know how Dak's going to be feeling in that game. So that bothers me. The Cowboys are allowing the 5th most passing yards per game. Like you were talking about that. Kirk Cousins sucks on primetime. We know that, but I mean, a lot of quarterbacks do, and he just has the weapons though that he can he could dump it off to Dalvin Cook if he needed to too. Yeah, I like the Vikings side on this, but I would like it a lot more if I knew that Dak was out.
So I'm with you on all that. I'm not concerned about that. I think that they're going to feed Zeke the ball. And I think that Minnesota doesn't have the weapons on defense to stop him. So yeah, Dak might be hurt. That's fine. I don't know. I'm good with it.
Yeah. Are you worried about them loading the box at all or no?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No, they'll get around it.
They should be
dump
more
off passes,
up
dump
front.
off. Yeah, they'll play. They'll play the screen game. They'll play the flats. They'll play, out of the backfield. Yeah, they'll be conservative with Cooper Rush, but I'm good with it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a lot of merit to what you're saying. I mean, that offense is super explosive regardless. Like they just have so many weapons, and their line is just much better, I think, than the Vikings defense. So yeah, we'll have to see how this one turns out.
Okay, now we move to Monday Night Football. The Giants going to Kansas City. Kansas City laying 9.5. The over/under on this one's 52.5. I'm really curious to hear what you're thinking on this one, Joey.
I mean, just can't trust the Giants to cover, even though the Chiefs basically never freaking cover anymore. So I mean, they've been struggling. I don't know what's going on in KC. Honestly, I think Jackson Mahomes is playing quarterback and Patrick is actually the one making the TikTok videos. I don't know what's going on. Like this dude, if you would have told me before the season that after 7 weeks of football, the Chiefs would be 3-4 and tied for last in the AFC West, leading the league in turnovers per game, I would have told you, come on over and let me smoke whatever strain that you got that's making you think that. And yet here we are. So that's what it is. With that said, I'm running away from the spread and I'm playing a prop because I just can't do it, man. I just can't do it. I could see the Giants covering this game, and the Giants also suck. So I'm not even touching it. Daniel Jones over 243.5 passing yards. If we take away the game where he was knocked out of with a concussion against the Cowboys, he's went over this number in 4 of 6 games. And in one of the games that he didn't, he finished with 242 yards. So he was just under that line. But that was against the Rams defense, a much better defense than KC's. And the other game he didn't reach this number was last week against Carolina, where they didn't need to run it up. They won the game 25-3. So it's just game script, basically. He didn't need to do anything. But in this game, he probably is going to need to do something against KC because we know, even though they've been struggling this year, they're probably going to put up points, Kansas City will, against the Giants. So, I mean, KC allows 275 passing yards per game, and they're second worst in pass DVOA. So hit this number before everyone starts to look at it on Monday, the day of the game, when it's the only game on the docket, because Daniel Jones he should be probably land somewhere around 249.5. At that point, I don't like it as much, but 243.5, I love it.
That's a great prop. I really love that. I'm going to tail that one. I am going to play the spread here. I don't love it for a lot of the reasons you said. I mean, Kansas City's struggling, man. This is crazy, especially with the turnovers. They're just getting killed in the turnover game. But look, they're still a top 4 passing offense. And this is a bad New York Giants defense, 22nd in the league in passing touchdowns allowed. They're not going to be able to hang. Kansas City's defense is bad. We've talked about it all year. They're 31st in the league in defensive DVOA. But what's New York got to go against it? I mean, they're 27th in offensive DVOA. Saquon Barkley didn't practice today, so there's another hit to him. I think you're right, Daniel Jones, and that may even play more to your Daniel Jones prop. I like that. No, Kansas City doesn't cover a lot, but if you look at their schedule, I mean, you break it down, right? Their losses are to Baltimore, the Chargers, Buffalo, and Tennessee. That's a pretty good 4 teams, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're 3-4, but when they win, they cover. I mean, they beat Washington, they beat Philadelphia, and they beat Cleveland. They covered against Washington and Philadelphia pretty easily. They missed the Cleveland cover in opening week by a point. I think, this team, this Giants team that they're coming up against is in that bottom tier. They're going to win. They're going to win the game. And they've shown that when they win, they can cover. So I think it's a lot of overreaction. I don't want to say overreaction because this Kansas City team is not the Super Bowl team we saw the last 2 years. But they'll cover this. 9.5 is a lot for some of the concerns I have, but I'm taking it. I'm laying the points this week. Kansas City, time for a bounce back, especially at home.
I can't fault you for that. I've been saying it for a while that I feel like they're right on the brink of bouncing out of it. And then, like last week, I got kind of spooked because, and you were on the right side of that, by the way. So kudos to you for calling that with the Titans game. That spooked me a little bit, not because it's Halloween, but I honestly think, stupid dad joke. I think it's because like that Titans defense, to me, they're not anything super special. So I'm like, they look that terrible against them. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, that's when I'm like, I can't fault you for it, though. I feel like they will. It's only a matter of time, right? They're too talented. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yep. Okay, we did have one other game that we threw in. I know you had a play on this, and I found a play as well. So we're Jacksonville at Seattle. This is one of those fun stinker games, but sometimes you can find value in one of these games.
Oh yeah.
Seattle laying 3.5. The over/under is 44.5 on this one. I want to hear your thoughts because you specifically added this one to the slate for a play.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's kind of like the Tampa Bay game for me. It might wind up being a same game parlay or something too. Forgive me if I go into too much detail with this, but James Robinson over 22.5 yards receiving. Might take a look at his rushing plus receiving as well. But I mean, the Seahawks, just like Alvin Kamara, that matchup last week, they've now allowed the most receiving yards to opposing running backs this year. And I mean, Kamara just absolutely blew them out of the water to make them, I think they were second most coming into last week. And then now they're the most. So James Robinson's more than capable receiving balls out of the backfield. Urban Meyer is now talking about him like, this guy is such a great work ethic, blah, blah, blah. Why did you even draft Travis Etienne? That's my question, because you had this guy from last year, and now you're just realizing it. But whatever. Okay, we're here now. Now he's buying into him, so good. I also like the Jags getting the points. The Seahawks aren't beating anyone by more than 3 points right now. Like, they have no identity on offense, and they're 25th in defense, pass DVOA, with an improving Trevor Lawrence. Over the last 3 games, he's averaged 265 yards passing and had a 93.8 passer rating. The Seahawks offensive line has been a mess also. So, I mean, they're second worst to the Bears in adjusted sack rate. So I like the Jags getting the points. I think you might even want to take them on the money line. I think there's a real shot that they win this game. So, but the +4 to me is very enticing. And I might even end up looking at Trevor Lawrence's over for passing yards, but I didn't write down the exact number, but that's something I'm looking at.
All right, we're gonna deviate again on this one. I can't ride the Jags on this. I mean, so take a step back. Neither of these teams pass the ball at all well. 27th Seattle is, and 31st Jacksonville is in terms of DVOA. But both have, I mean, serviceable running games. I'm not going to say either of them is going to light you on fire. But Jacksonville has actually ran the ball very well. 10th in rushing yards per game. And actually, when you look at it on a play-by-play basis with DVOA, they're second in the league. And then Seattle's at third. So, I mean, to me, it's like, who's going to be able to stop the run? So then I start looking at their defenses, right? And there's some weird stuff here. Jacksonville, 17th in rushing yards allowed, but 30th in touchdowns allowed. Seattle 30th in yards allowed, but 12th in touchdowns allowed. So I feel like Seattle's a little bit tougher in the red zone. Maybe not allowing such large breakout runs. Overall defensive DVOA, this is kind of where it landed to kind of balance it all out. Seattle at 11th, Jacksonville at 20th. That's rush DVOA ranks there. I'm going to take Seattle, lay the points at home. I don't love this game. I don't love any play on it. Maybe the under would be a good play for me as well. Against the spread rankings here, Seattle's 4-3, Jacksonville's 2-4. That kind of tipped me in the one direction. But yeah, this is a stinker. I like your props. I might tail some of those, but I'll take Seattle. I'll lay the points.
All right. What do you think? So, where are they even getting their offense from, though? Like, is Chris? Because Chris Carson's out again, I believe. So
yeah,
that's what scares me, man. Like,
yeah, I know.
I watched that game on Monday night, and I'm like, man, this offense is anemic. Like, and I know the Jags aren't good either, but it just feels like it's starting to come more together. And I agree with you on all those numbers, by the way. Like, you know, that's the facts. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's 100% a statistical based bet. I don't know. These are two teams that I don't go out of my way to watch. So it's like,
oh yeah, why would you? Yeah.
Yeah, you have the eye test for sure from last week. I might just lean the under on that, just because I don't think there's going to be much offense on either side. But
don't let me talk you out of it, though.
Oh, you're not. No,
but if you feel good about it, do it, because I'm like, that's the last thing I want. Like, if it hits for you, then you're gonna be like, well, Joey fucking said, no, it's not my fault. Don't look at me.
All right, man. That was the last game on the slate. Do you have any honorable mentions you want to throw out? I don't this week. As I said last night, I'm not doing honorable mentions this week because they fucked me last week. So
yeah, no, I don't. I might have like an alternate spread, like huge, massive parlay to throw out, but no, I don't have anything. I really don't. That's pretty much it, man. I didn't even write down a lock this week, so I'm gonna come up with that on the fly too.
Yeah, let's talk about it. What did we need some crack 'em locks of the week? I am feeling pretty good about mine. I'm taking that Tennessee money line.
All right.
I think I was pretty adamant about it when we talked through it. I think Tennessee is is much hotter right now. Yeah, I'm good with that. Tennessee money line. That's my crack 'em lock of the week. I'm gonna crack it with that. Ready?
Just about. Got to find something to crack. All right. I got them tucked away over here. Just pull them out when I want them.
So what do you got? What's your lock?
Damn. Yeah, put me on the spot again. But, this is why you should be prepared with your locks. And now this is 2 episodes in a row where I had my locks like on the spot. But they're always something that I feel good about. So, man, let's just go ahead and roll with that last one I mentioned. I do like the Bears one too. We talked about that. I don't want to make it a lock. I can't put my favorite team in a lock position right now with the way that offense is looking. So I'm not going to do that. But I will say that Daniel Jones over 20 or 243.5 passing yards, that looks really good to me. I think he's actually been playing decently this season on offense when he's not fumbling the ball, and he hasn't been as bad this year on that end either. So
right.
Yeah, against the Chiefs, horrible pass defense. That'll be my lock of the week.
I like that too. Yeah, I'm definitely telling that. All right, Joe. Well, man, it's we're headed in the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know, I have kids, so we're gonna do the whole Halloween trick-or-treating thing. So we're gonna have fun with that.
There you go.
But whatever you have planned, I hope you enjoy it. Hope you stay safe. And yeah, man, it's been real. To all the listeners, As always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you're going out and following all of us on the socials. You can follow us as a podcast at On Tap Bets. Follow our parent company at On Tap Sportsnet. You can follow Joey at the Riot 326, and you can follow me at I Was Zach on Twitter. Thanks, guys. As always, happy betting. Cheers.
Happy betting. Hope your kids get a ton of candy too.
I do too, because I'm the one that eats it.
Be stealing it all. You'd be Derrick Henrying your own kids away from their own candy.
You're fucking right.
Good luck, guys.
See you next week, guys.